Tim Petrowich for Dateline, Marion, and WGGH Radio, and we're here for our weekly visit with Marion head football coach Jason Dunning. And senior night coming up, last game of the regular season, a lot on the line for the Wildcats. But we'll talk about the reason there's a lot on the line for the Wildcats Friday night, and that's because last Friday, Marion outlasted Carbondale 44-42. We'll talk about that game. The first thing I want to ask is, I went back, was writing my story for the website this morning, and the game had 86 points, 59 first downs, more than 1,000 yards in total offense, and it was a defensive play that turned out to be the play of the game.
Yes.
So talk about that last play, and I know you said you didn't really see it when it happened, but I know you've got had a chance to go back and look at film. And can you really tell anything from looking at the film?
You know what? The guys up front kind of initiated. We kind of stonewalled their initial push, and our linemen up front, Alex Henry, Malachi Cooper, Noah Williams, they went low and were able to kind of stonewall that initial push. And then their big 74, the Lee kid, kind of comes through to kind of lead block, and Ryan Colon just slips right around him and kind of stuffs it at the line of scrimmage. But you know what, Pedro, after and the initial surge gets stopped, everybody thinks the play's over. We're celebrating, kids are running on the field, but then when you go back and you dissect the play, there's more to it. And I just want to throw a huge shout out to Max Wade, because if you go back and watch the clip, I don't know, you can't tell when the whistle's blown, but you see the Carbondale kid hit the line, you see us stop him. We think it's over. Well, there's a little bit of, I think, another part of the play that just never developed. Right before the play starts, you see number 56 for Carbondale kind of go and talk to the running back, as if it's designed, if it gets stonewalled like it did, he's supposed to reach in and grab the ball, and he does. He goes there, he reaches in, he grabs the ball, and then he tries to kind of get it out to 15 on the edge, and Max sees it, and Max goes and secures it. But when we watch the huddle view, the overview, we even see the referee's head watching the ball on the ground. So I think there was another part of the play, but and it could have just been one of those things that, hey, if it's stonewalled, you guys go in, you grab it, you throw it, we try to extend the play, and maybe the referees let something happen. But I was really, really proud. Thankfully, they kind of called a timeout right before it.
Yeah. And
gave us, because we were out of timeouts. We were out of timeouts. And went out there, and I just told him, I was like, hey, here we go. Let it go. You guys just play your rear ends off, find a gap, and just play till the whistle. And I was really proud of the defense on how they did it. But there was a lot of kind of leading up to that. It was back and forth. And at some point, one of the two coaching staffs has to make that hard decision. We score, we kick it. They score, they kick it. At some point, someone's got to make the decision when we're going to go for two.
Yeah.
And on the two previous scores on our part, we just were running the ball. Coach Skeet's offensive line was doing a tremendous job up front. And after we scored to go to 36, I went over to Coach Vanoy and Coach Skeet, and I'm like, what do you think about going for two? And both their eyes kind of lit up. And I'm like, because what I didn't want to happen in that second half, I didn't want to be chasing points. I didn't want them to make the decision to go for two. And now we've got that added pressure of trying to, so we score, and then I called, we tried to freeze them. Our plan was to freeze them. If they jump, great. The ball goes up to 1.5 yards. If they don't, we're going to call timeout.
Right.
And we called timeout, and I know a lot of people were kind of questioning, criticizing why we call a timeout. And I thought that was a impactful moment in the ball game. If we could get two, now we put extra pressure on them that if they do go score, they've got to get their 2-point conversion.
Right.
And I think it makes the play calling a little bit easier because you know what to expect. If they do go and score, which they did, they're going to go for two. And but I was really proud of our guys up front, and we just got in a new little set and mashed it to go up 8. And then I'll be darned if Carbondale didn't go score, and they did the same thing. And then the next ensuing possession, we're in that same situation and going, hey, I felt confident in our ability to run the ball, and so we went for 2 again, and I felt like after Blake Winters had the huge play, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, but he had a huge play, and as a coach who's struggling at the time defensively, that is not what I wanted to see happen. I was ecstatic going, Blake, go, and then I'm like, oh boy, what are we gonna do here? Because I was hoping to get that clock down a little further, but I was so happy for Blake. He had a great game, and then I felt like they were on their heels, and I'm like, go for it, go for 2. Let's play this thing, and so exciting night, fun night.
Real quick, I'll go back to that the stop. When I watched the film like 4 or 5 times to try and figure it out because it was on different social media and different people had angles. The initial contact was Alex, and like you said, going low.
Mm-hmm.
He's like going in low. Some guy from Carbondale jumps on his back. He reaches out and grabs a hold of Graham's ankle.
Yep.
And holds him up long enough. Then you said Ryan Colon and Blake Winters from the other side came in and stood him up and kept him from getting to the goal line. So you had, but I want to talk about that going low because we talked on our radio broadcast about the fact that one of the things that we've seen Marion kind of get into a habit that I'm sure you're trying to fix is tackling high and trying to strip the ball and grabbing people around the shoulders is not gonna get people down.
No.
So you had 2 huge plays. One of them was the 2-point conversion. One of them was a 4th down stop you got where they gave the ball to Graham again, and Malachi gets in there, goes low, and gets him around the knees and brings him down for a stop on a 4th down try.
Yeah.
Those are where you can go back and point that out to the kids and say, here's what happens when you go low.
Exactly. And I think too, you go back a few years, we've had some big defensive linemen. We had that class that went to the quarters with Maurice Marvin and Jalen Elliott and Talon Hance. Those are guys that can play that battle, that physical, take on that double team and stonewall that push. But you look at those guys with Noah Williams and Malachi Cooper and Alex Henry. They're not the biggest, and Carbondale was really big up front, and we try to often use our speed and use our technique, but there comes times in a battle like that, you can see over on the sideline, we're encouraging them, hey, on this play, go down. Don't worry about making the play. Worry about causing something to clog it up.
Of that blocker so someone can come in.
And the 4th down was another. I'm really proud of my coaching staff, and I'm really proud of the use of timeouts, because that 4th down play, when they have it on theirs, I said that was a crucial use of a timeout. Now, granted, I would love to have had one the last series, but we used one on that 4th down play because, oftentimes you call a timeout on 4th down as an offense, you're trying to dial up the perfect play. And chances are you didn't like how we were aligned. Otherwise, you weren't going to use the timeout. You just would have went ahead and gone with it. So Carbondale used the timeout. Well, one of the things that I want to do is I want to see what you come out in, because that's a crucial play in the ball game. You're lined up in a running formation. I'm going to make sure, and I liked our guy up top, liked how we were lined up, but I think that there was a little extra that we wanted to go to, and so I used that timeout, and we ended up making a play. And on that, ironically, Ryan Colon blitzes through a gap, and the Lee kid kind of shoves him as he's coming through, and it knocks Ryan down. And Ryan and Malachi are right there at the bottom to hit Graham's legs out from underneath him a little bit, and that's what helped get the big stop on 4th down and gave us the ball way down there and almost in our red zone. But I was happy with everything about the game as far as the calls and it being a chess match and they're athletic. But to go back to your initial thing, yes, and we work really, really hard on tackling. We just have to bring that level down. And you're right, low man kind of wins, and we went for it there, and I was really happy to see those guys make a crucial stand in a ball game to almost solidify it. The onside was nerve-wracking.
Mad scramble.
Yes.
So. We have talked all year about the two-headed monster you have at running back in Ryan Colon and Chase Niemeyer, and we brought up the fact, and you thanked us for mentioning that the monsters developed a third head. and Blake Winters had not only a good game defensively, which we mentioned, and he was, he was in on the stop on the last play. He had the interception for the one turnover Carbondale had. He ran for more than 45 yards, and he caught passes for more than 50 yards, including the touchdown where he made here's two guys coming at him, and they're going low, and he jumped over them. And kind of split through the two of them, and then he was gone. So just talk about the game that Blake had.
Oh, I was so happy because he was a kid that, over the summer kind of head was all over the place, and he decided to go ahead and there were thoughts there for a while that he wasn't going to play, and then he decided that he was going to stick it out. And he's a kid that his effort is there constantly, and he has evolved and developed into a really, really good football player. And the fact that he's just a junior is exciting. But he's one of our top 2 or 3 fastest kids on the team, and just that whole group, especially in the secondary, is really starting to develop with he and Junius and Sam and Pickles and Hoffman and Max Wade, and those are all juniors, all guys that are coming back. But to see him fit in with Cologne and with Niemeyer, and now you've got 3 guys, and I think it was Justin after the game they all run the same way.
Yeah.
They've each got their own little quirks to it, but they just run so dang hard, and you can't ask for anything else. He may not always get to the hole correctly, but he's going to give a lot of effort, and seeing him have a big touchdown reception after that interception that he made, that's a heck of a night. That's a heck of a night in a big ball game, homecoming game, but I was really happy for how the Wildcats played.
Early in the season, we saw Max Wade make the big plays on the offense. We saw, as the season progressed, we've seen Sam Atkins become a go-to guy as a receiver. We've seen Junius Thomas develop into another go-to guy. Friday night, your leading receiver was Aiden Pickles.
Yes.
And not only that, but you had one pass where he was way behind the defense, and Cal just overthrew him a little bit. That could have been a huge night for Aiden. And again, go back to just talking about the fact that you have so many weapons, the 3 running backs, and now 5 or 6 receivers that you can throw to. And you can throw to Ryan and Chase and Blake out of the backfield, and Logan Hoffman gets in the mix. And all of a sudden you're naming more guys than there are starters sometimes that can make impactful plays on the offense.
And Aiden's a kid that just has such a big target. He caught a huge out route there late in the game, the last drive that we had. He caught a huge out route on the sideline, and he's a kid that's 6'2", 6'3", big target, comes across. He had that early in the game. We hit him on a little snag route, and he made a couple guys miss and ran the ball hard, almost scored there. But yeah, he's a big target, kind of a possession type guy that just allows Cal to have opportunities. And I think this receiving core is a lot like, as you were describing, it's a lot like the quarterfinal team.
Right.
When you had, Mason Gooch and Vince and Jake Bruce and Walker Fox and all these guys going, okay, you pick your poison. Defensively, who do you want to try to take away? And if you take away Sam, now you got Pickles and you got Junius. If you try to do that, it makes for Coach Vanoy and Coach Skeet, Coach Brown, all those guys, kind of orchestrating the offense. It gives them a lot of weapons that you've got to figure out how you're going to take care of these guys. And now you had, Hoffman in the mix out there kind of running some fast screens. And he's a little, much like Mason Gooch. I think Max and Hoffman both kind of fit that little scat back out there. They're just a booger to try to find. And if they get in behind the lineman, it's like you don't see them, and all of a sudden, I think on Hoffman's first score, I don't think Carbondale even sees him. He runs a little counter back, and he's darting into the end zone before they really figured out where the ball was. So it's you made the comment that we named off more names than guys and positions out there, and going, that is an awesome problem to have. Going, okay, how do we fit these guys in? And it forces the level of practice to come up, because normally you got your starter and you don't have anyone behind them. Well, now you got guys behind them that are pushing them and going, okay, if you're struggling one night, someone else may go in. Who knows when you may get your spot back? Because all of a sudden we've got guys catching balls and doing things and running routes, and it's fun.
We have not really talked a whole lot about this group, but this is something that we observed, and we kind of called them out a little bit on Friday night. And you could just see as the game went on that the offensive line got stronger and stronger and stronger, and was opening up bigger holes. And that running game got going. You made some plays early, but as the game went on, you just and there wasn't a whole lot of big plays. Marion had 29 first downs, but a lot of 6, 7, 8 yard plays, and that's just a lot of credit to the guys on the front.
And I was so happy because Skeet puts in time and he works with those kids, and there's a very high level and a standard by which those offensive linemen have to play at, and he's continued all year. Guys have kind of moved around a little bit and shuffled the pieces, but he found a group, and they just buy in, and they're Skeet's boys. They are with him every day, all practice, and just seeing them just at times, Carbondale started to get tired, and our guys were fresh, and they are just walling them down. That's why, someone asked after the game, did you feel like did you feel forced to go for two? No, it was not a forced thing. It was proud of our offensive linemen, because they are just road grading them at times. And to look at them and see how big Carbondale is compared to our guys, and our guys just worked together, and they just kept going, okay, you're going to blitz. We're just going to wall everything down and allow our guys to run. And that's why those last 2 extra points never crossed my mind. Go for it. You got them on their heels. Go and just mash them up front. And I was really proud that, the yardage that the offensive linemen got. And they withstood, everything, all the crazy, chaotic blitzes that Carbondale brings. Cal was pretty clean.
He was.
Cal was pretty clean. They kept Cal off the ground. And when you can do that and run the ball, Pedro, for us to get over 500 yards of total offense, I'm really proud. And I know Skeet's really proud of that offensive line.
And I think as the season's gone on, they've developed a little bit of a swagger too. And I think of one play in particular, one of those little fast screens, and you picked up like 10, 12, 14 yards on the play. And down there in the pile near where the tackle is Logan Black.
Yes.
And then he gets up and he's chirping at one of the guys from Carbondale, which you don't want to see your guy chirping. But the fact that he's down there at the front of the play and taking a little, say, hey, look what I did. I'm down here.
And I think there's a play, too, that stands out. and it may be the same. It may be the same one. It was late in the fourth.
This was early in the game when I saw.
This one was late in the fourth, and we ran a little slow screen to Chase Niemeyer after we had just got a holding call. I think the one holding call of the night backed us up. And, your thought is, or our offensive thought is, let's get back part of that yardage. We don't have to get all of it back. Mm-hmm. It's second down. We can get back part of the yardage. And they threw it out there, and he is out there leading the way. And here comes Dalton Bowles, and here comes the other guys out there. And I'll be dang if all of a sudden we didn't get all of it back.
We got 20 yards and a first down on that
first
play.
Down, so we got all that penalty yardage back, plus the yardage to gain anyway. But offensive line, and they work diligently every single day, and happy that they had a game where they just smashed them.
Oh, and I want to mention on that play too that near the end, you still would have been in a good position. I think 3rd and 2 maybe or something like that. But Chase just put his head down and he steamrolled a couple of guys.
Yes.
And got the first down too.
And I often wonder with Chase going, what would he have been like all 4 years?
Yeah,
all 4 years of playing, and we've had several kids that come out late. It's like, dang, I wish I would have had you. Just like Cayenne early in the season is playing really well, and I'm like, I wish I would have had you last year. And the little things that we're not doing right now, you'd have had it all last year to learn those and fix those and be ahead. But no, it was a good night for the Wildcats. Happy homecoming, big win, puts us at 5-3 and exciting.
Let's talk about Mattoon.
Okay.
This is a game that is big for the Wildcats because you're sitting at 5 wins. You're low on playoff points. Mm-hmm. Depending on who you talk to, you may be okay. You may not be okay. You're good as gold if you win this game. And I know that last year's Mattoon game left a sour taste in the Wildcats' mouth. Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of motivation going into this game.
There is, and you had on top of that, Petro, senior night playing here, Wildcat Stadium. Our home atmosphere is unlike anything else that we go and get to experience and play with. But yeah, we were 4-4 headed up there. We thought, if we could get that win last year, it would allow everything to kind of play out and be okay, and we'd be 5-4 and in the playoffs and streak and all that. And hats off to Mattoon last year. They were in a position 1-7 and playing at home, and they beat us last year. So yeah, so there's a lot going into this game, and the outcome will determine a lot of things, answer a lot of questions for us going into Friday night, late Friday night into Saturday about what week 10 looks like. But yeah, we have the opportunity to control our own destiny here, stamp our own ticket. They're going to come in here, hoping to play spoiler, and for some of those kids, it's the last time that they're ever going to put those football pads on, and so they'll play for the love of the game. But hopefully the Wildcats can take care of themselves and earn the right to get win number 6 and make Friday night a little less stressful.
Traditionally, Mattoon's been a team that's been a mix of pass and run.
Yep.
It's the same this year. They've got a junior who's been the quarterback most of the season. Last week he didn't play very much anyway. And of course, the big player is the coach's son, Kimbrough, who has thrown the ball, run the ball, caught the ball, and plays on defense. I mean, he's all over the field all the time. He's
all over the place. Luckily, he's a pretty big kid, so we shouldn't miss him too much. Sometimes trying to find kids, and they're smaller makes it harder. But no, we're going to know where number 12 is. And you're right. Last week, he's slinging the ball around at quarterback against Muhammad Seymour. The week before, they're finding unique ways to get him the ball, but I think their offense goes through, his success to get yardage, and he also plays linebacker for them and makes a lot of plays. So we're going to have to find him and block him. But no, I mean, I think it's easy to look at their record and think, oh, they're not very good. But then if you really start to look at who they've played, and they've got a significant win. They beat Mount Zion, who was at the time state ranked. They beat Charleston, but their other games are, pretty competitive, with the exception of playing a good Muhammad team. And, but they play hard. And I think every year that we've played Mattoon, you can't deny that they're going to give you effort. You can't deny that they're going to play hard. The coach had them, the Wildcats came out at halftime last year with a lead. And they still, they took care of us and they got momentum on their side and kind of physically handled us in the second half. And, there's a lot riding, and it's going to be a ball game that I think the longer, if we let them hang around, the longer we let them hang, the more confidence they're going to have and the harder that they're going to play. And, so we got to come out and execute. And we told the kids yesterday, we played 6 really good quarters of football. The second half against Collinsville, all 4 quarters against Carbondale. We just got to continue this and play and execute at the level that we want to.
This season, you talked about this, Mattoon, if it's a low-scoring game, they're right in it, and they've had a little trouble with offense and putting points on the board, but they've been able to hold for the most part their opponents without scoring a whole lot. That did change last week with the game against Muhammad. Muhammad put up 63 on them, but Muhammad has always been a solid team and a leader in that conference. But even though they haven't given up a whole lot of points, I'm sure that you've seen some things that are going to work offensively and defensively that can put you in a good position.
I mean, I like our game plan. The coaching staff came up here Sunday. We gave the kids Saturday off because of homecoming, and so Sunday we came up, we watched film, we broke it down, we game plan. And, there's a lot of stuff on both sides of the ball that we're excited about, that we like. And it's going to come down to can the Wildcats defensively contain number 12? The Kimbrough kid, and can we offensively continue to execute and score points? And I think if we do that, if we take care of ourselves, I think our chances are good to earn win number 6. So we're excited.
It is senior night. How many are there? I can think
11.
of a few, but I'm sure I can't think of all of them. But
we got 11 seniors. And so, and Coach Martin started something, several years ago where, we used to do it before the game. We would bring the seniors up in front and all the coaches would talk about each one of the players. Well, then our numbers got so big that it created a little bit of a problem because you're like, okay, come on, we got to get going. We still got a ball game to play. So now what we do is we do it after we eat on Thursday night. So it's a chance to recognize just us, just our football family. And, we've talked about before, sometimes it'd be nice to have the parents there to let them kind of listen in to what the coaches and other players have to say about their boys. But I think that there's something special about it being just a team. And so we will meet, I think we're at your place.
Yes.
Yeah, so after we get done eating dinner at your church, we'll go to the sanctuary or we'll go to somewhere and we'll put those seniors out in front and have everybody looking in, and we'll talk about our seniors, each one individually, and they've earned, because like I said, we tried to do it before the game, and there were times that you get to a kid and you're trying to hurry up because we're sitting there going, okay, we got to take their, the field here in a few minutes. No, we're going to give them the time to listen to words from their coaches and their teammates, and it's a special night, and we'll enjoy celebrating those guys.
And as we found out last week, and you've already referred to it, there's no place like home.
There's no place like home. It is exciting, and seeing, without going too much into it, seeing the kids get fired up and defending their home turf. And when that last buzzer goes off and Country Roads plays, and it's special. I enjoy being at home, and I enjoy the atmosphere and the crowd. I try to. Coach Martin, kind of threw out several years ago, going, "Hey, enjoy the moments. Don't get so caught up in the game. Find time to really embrace and just kind of step back for a second and look around." And as the Maniacs are rushing onto the field, it was nice just to kind of sit back and just observe and watch this unique experience that I think when other teams come, I sometimes wonder what they think, what they think goes on. And I've got a nephew now playing at Carbondale, and theirs is kind of different. It's just different. It's not ours is better, theirs is better, theirs is different. And he's been to enough ball games that he enjoys and coming down the field, and it's just something special about Wildcat Stadium and the opportunity to play there one more time. And we talked a couple weeks ago that the scenario playing out, you could not as a coach ask for anything better. The last two games, homecoming, senior night, at home, playoffs riding on everything, and going, this is the scenario that makes me excited. And I think our kids fuel and play better in that environment, and I hope they enjoy the special parts of Wildcat Stadium.
If you have not experienced it, your chance is Friday night here, Wildcat Stadium, 7 o'clock, Marion playing Mattoon. That is Marion head football coach Jason Dunning. For Dateline Marion and WGGH Radio, I'm Tim Petrowich.